In this CMMS software training video, I'm going to show you how to search the various data grids in MainSmart. I'll begin by going to the work order screen, and I'll notice when the screen opens I have my data grid with my various work orders in this case. To begin with, to find a particular work order in this screen, we need to make sure obviously that it's included in the data. Okay, the amount of data that is loaded into the data grid where it's a date sensitive table or has a date included is determined by what we call the maximum query days. Now in this case we're going back 1200 days back from today to gather records. Now if this work order that we're looking for is further back than 1200 days back, then obviously it's not going to be in here and we're not going to be able to find it. So what I'm going to do to start with, I'm going to go to my program configuration screen and go to settings, and I'm going to change my maximum query day setting to a very large number. Now normally you would probably set this at somewhere between 30 and maybe 720 days or 2 years. I'm just doing this for the purposes of this training video. Okay, so we come back here, and if I refresh this I should get more data. Okay, in fact, let me just close it and reopen it. Now I'm getting 19 records. Okay, the reason I'm getting 19 records is because the maximum query days is being overridden on the work order screen by me. Okay, I still have it set at 1200 here. Now I can change it to the 999, which it defaulted to, by simply going back here to options. Okay, so now we're showing a lot more data. There's 172 records in here. So let's just say, for example, we want to find a particular work order number. And we're not sure exactly where it is in here. So what we're going to do is we can start by just sorting the data grid and sorting the columns. Now each of these columns will sort. So in this case we're looking at a numeric column, and at the top we have a little arrow pointing down, and what that's representing is that the data in this column is being sorted in descending order. In other words, the last work orders at the top, and the numbers are getting sequentially lower. If we click here again, now it brings the lowest value number, work order number, to the top and sorts them in ascending order. Okay, that might be useful. At least that way we can kind of scroll down and try to find it. On the other hand, it may not be that useful. So what I think I'm going to do instead of that is right click right on the column header and then pick Quick Grid Search. And I'm looking for work order number 288, and notice when I type it, it brings it right to the top. Okay, so that's another way we could search. To get rid of this search, I'll right click and pick Cancel Search. Alright, there's yet another way, and let me refresh this and get back to where it was. Okay, the other way we could search would be by picking this other little arrow on the edge of the column header. Now again, every column on every grid in MainSmart has that. So these grids are very searchable. So I can click on that and it gives me a listing of all the work orders. Well, that probably doesn't really help me in this case. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to pick my numeric filter down here, and I'm going to pick equals 288, click apply, and now I get my work order number 288. Okay, to cancel this, I pick clear. Gets me back to where I was. Okay, another thing on the work order screen is we can actually sort the columns and then save that sort. Now you'll notice my last work order that I created is at the top. By default it's going to be at the bottom. So how did I get this? Well, the way you do this is you sort the column. In fact, let me just flip the sort order around. I'm sorting now in ascending order, and if I want to keep it that way, I go to my View menu item, Grid Settings, Save Grid Settings, and then I also need to make sure that my grid settings has this checked. Use Save Column Settings. Okay, so if I exit the work order screen and come back, I'll notice it saved that. Now obviously you probably want the last work order at the top, so this would be the opposite of what you probably really want. So let me flip it back around. That way every time I create a work order I have to scroll to the bottom to see it. So I'll go ahead and change it back. Save grid settings. Okay, so that's not necessarily a way of searching for work orders, but it does give you a way to get the last one at the top. Okay, another feature on the work order screen that sometimes throws MateSmart users off is this: active work orders only. Okay, if you check that, it's only going to show work orders that are active. Now what can happen is you can forget you had it checked and leave and come back after the weekend. It's still checked, and now you can't find all your other work orders or requests. Only the actives are showing. So that setting persists between sessions against your user ID. So make sure you uncheck it when you're done. Okay, so there's a few ways of searching. One other way that's fairly useful, again, it uses the column search, is searching, for example, let's do this on the comments field. And this will be searching through the comments based on any text in the comments. Let me squish this down a little bit, and I'll click on this, and I can see all my comments. And this is just arbitrary text, basically. So in this case, I know that we worked on a light, but I don't remember exactly what light it was or what it had to do with. So I can pick the word contains and then type in light, and anywhere that the text light is found will be brought up. So that's a pretty powerful way of searching through the comments or any of the columns in MateSmart.